This is the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, keeping you informed about the happenings in Annapolis and the area. Local news, local sports, local events, local opinion, and of course, local weather. The Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief starts now.
Good morning. It's Tuesday, November 13th, 2018. This is John Frenay, and this is your Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. As you are listening to this, the USS Sioux City, the ship that's going to be named the USS Sioux City on Saturday, is pulling into port at the Naval Academy. Public tours will begin a little bit later this morning and continue throughout the week. So if you've got a chance to get over to the Naval Academy, check out the Navy's newest battleship, the USS Sioux City. Last night at about 6:30, Anne Arundel County Police were called to Maryland 198, Laurel Fort Meade Road, and Russet Green West in Maryland City for a pedestrian struck. When officers arrived on the scene, they found that a Ford minivan was traveling westbound, and a pedestrian began crossing the roadway southbound from a nearby gas station using the crosswalk. However, video that they discovered shows that there was a clear do not walk signal. The pedestrian attempted to skip his way in between gaps in the traffic and unfortunately was hit in the last lane that he tried to cross. The driver that hit him did remain at the scene, and it appears that it was pedestrian error that caused the death of this man, who died a few minutes later at Laurel Regional Medical Center. The driver of the vehicle was only identified as a 54-year-old male from Beltsville, and the pedestrian was a 51-year-old male from Severn, and they are awaiting the notification of the next of kin. Tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. at the Magothy River Middle School, the State Highway Administration is going to hold a meeting and provide some answers as to what they've been doing to stop all of the wrong-way crashes on Route 50. This comes at the behest of Senator Ed Riley, and he said that he wants to make sure that SHA hears the concerns and the ideas of the citizens. He says that the citizens have proposed many creative and good ways to fix the problem. SHA officials will open the meeting with a presentation about the actions currently taken to date, which is mostly erecting a lot of wrong way and do not enter signs on most of the ramps entering Route 50, and then they're going to open the floor to questions from the audience. Now, what they have done so far, I think, has been pretty outstanding. Those intersections do light up at night, which is primarily when all of these accidents have happened. Yesterday at 1 o'clock, officers from Anne Arundel County responded to the Ironstone community in Lothian for a hate bias incident. And a resident called saying that some unknown subjects had distributed Ku Klux Klan flyers around the neighborhood. The flyers were not threatening, but they were, as one can imagine, extremely offensive. Anne Arundel County Police Chief Tim Altomar said the Anne Arundel County Police Department condemns this type of behavior and these racist ideologies. The mindset has no place within our county. We will continue to work extremely hard to make all citizens of this county feel safe and included. The police did say that the incident, while incredibly inappropriate and offensive, is non-criminal in nature. No threats were made toward a person or a group of people. A report was taken and the incident was documented. This comes on the heels of a similar incident last week up in Glen Burnie when the same flyers were distributed in a Glen Burnie neighborhood. Hey, if you've got some old electronics sitting around, Thursday is America Recycles Day, and Amazon is getting together and running a recycling event. You may have to go a little bit. It is going to be held from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at FedEx Field in Landover, but it is an e-waste collection event. They've partnered with a local firm called ERI, and they say that nearly 100% of electronic waste is recyclable, but most of it is generally sent to the landfills. Now, they say that all electronics collected at the events will be processed at the facilities, and all digital data will be completely destroyed. A list of acceptable e-waste stuff includes phones, cable boxes, computers, hard drives, fax machines, microwaves, speakers, stereos, televisions. So if you've got a bunch of old electronics sitting around, you don't know how to get rid of it, there's your solution. Thursday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland, courtesy of Amazon. Speaking of Amazon, rumor has it that later on today there will be an announcement about their headquarters, plural. And it looks like they are going to go with New York as well as Crystal City, Virginia, but we will have to wait for the official answer on that one. Washington, D.C. is trying to clip birds' feathers, and that's bird like the scooters that are all through town. They've introduced legislation which is going to curb the number of scooters any one company can put in and cap it at 600. They're also going to require electric bikes to be modified so they cannot exceed 20 miles per hour, and scooters will be limited to 10 miles per hour. Other new requirements will include non-smartphone options for trip rentals, cash payment options, and low-income pricing, as well as deploying scooters in all 8 wards of the district. And I think Annapolis should really take a look at this and sort of watch what Washington, D.C. is doing here, because one of the things that Washington is doing is trying to get viable transportation options into areas that typically don't have it and to communities that typically don't have transportation available to them. Not a bad idea, I don't think. Another form of transportation. This one's probably cheap and it's probably uncomfortable, but Spirit Airlines, the low-cost airline that we all love to hate, is going to be starting nonstop service from Baltimore, Washington International to Jacksonville starting on February 14th. I guess that's Valentine's Day. So if you're looking to get down to Florida, and actually Jacksonville is a very convenient airport to fly into. You can easy drive into St. Augustine or up into some of the Georgia beaches. I imagine it will be very inexpensive, very few frills. But for 2 hours, it's probably worth it. Spirit Airlines' existing routes out of BWI include Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, and Fort Lauderdale. That is about it for the top news today. Please make sure you're checking out eyeonannapolis.net throughout the day, because we do update it throughout the day. If you get a chance, make sure you get out to see that USS Sioux City, and hang tight. We have George Young with DMV Weather, and he's coming up with your local weather forecast in just a minute.
Here's to the teacher who spends her weekend helping children who need a little extra attention. To the soldier who missed the birth of his baby while serving overseas. To the EMT working full-time and taking night classes. To the police officers and firefighters working long hours away from their families to keep our families safe. Here's to you, our hometown heroes. I'm Alan Hyatt, Chairman and President of Severn Bank, and we know there are many heroes among us. Men and women who serve without expecting anything in return. Which is why we're honored to offer our Hometown Heroes program to educators, law enforcement officers, firefighters, first responders, healthcare workers, and military personnel. Whether you're opening a checking account or buying a new home, we're here to give back to you. Learn more about our Hometown Heroes program at severnbank.com. Severn Bank, here with you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Going out? You need the most up-to-date local weather. Here's George Young from DMV Weather in Annapolis with today's forecast.
Hey everyone, this is George with DMV Weather, and here's your Eye on Annapolis forecast for Tuesday, November 13th. Rain event number 1 for the week should be over soon, though clouds will stick around for much of the day. Then high pressure will move back in for Wednesday and the first part of Thursday, bringing cold temps for this time of year with highs only in the upper 30s to maybe mid-40s, before rain event number 2 rolls in Thursday from the south-southwest again, lasting into early Friday morning, possibly providing enough rain to officially break the all-time rainfall record at BWI Airport while getting DC and Dulles that much closer to their respective records. And looking ahead to the weekend, it's generally expected at this point that skies will be dry with plenty of sunshine, but cool, once again temps with 40s and 50s for highs. Okay, that's it for today. Be sure to download our free weather app on all of your devices by searching the Apple App Store or Google Play Store for DC MDVA Weather, so you can always stay weather informed, or follow us on our website at dmvweather.com or on Facebook or Twitter. This is George Young of DMV Weather. Make it a great day out there as we once again dry out from yet another rainstorm. But remember, whatever the weather outside, have fun and be safe.
When you think of Watermark, you probably think of Harbor Queen. You know, the big white boat that sits down at the end of City Dock. But did you know that Harbor Queen is much more than just a visitor attraction? That thousands of local school children take field trips aboard it every year to learn about the Chesapeake Bay and our region's history. But that's not all you don't know about Watermark. When the Susquehanna River crested, washing thousands of tons of debris into our waterways, Watermark was there, rolling up their sleeves, helping the Annapolis Harbor Master clean up Ego Alley. And when the Annapolis Police Department SWAT team needed a boat to conduct special training exercises on to help protect our waters, they called Watermark. Watermark, making our mark. To learn more about how Watermark is here for our hometown, visit watermarkjourney.com.
You've been listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Tell your friends and colleagues this is the podcast where you can keep up on the latest with what's going on in Annapolis. And also tell them about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find even more information. This podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m., keeping you informed with the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. And take a moment to listen to our other podcast, The Maryland Crabs, released every Thursday at noon.